So every time I've realized my story changes a little bit, because I tend to remember things that, your brain wants to forget, doesn't want to remember all of the bad. So I originally got sick when I was 12. I'm 28 now, and I probably look like I'm 16, but I'm 28. And I was diagnosed with lupus, and it accelerated quicker than I think anything I've ever heard of. So from 12 to 14, I had already lost my kidneys. I had how many hospital visits?
42 admissions in 18 months.
In 18 months. My longest stay back then was about 56 days, just months on end. I weighed 80 pounds. My parents have said goodbye to me multiple times. I had rheumatoid arthritis, Hashimoto's, the rash across my face. I had vasculitis in my brain, which I think was the worst, because every vein in my brain was swollen. So I had nosebleeds and migraines and personality changes. I went from an all-star athlete and straight A student to nothing. I didn't want to do anything. My mom would have to drag me out of my room. And it just kind of destroyed our family, which sucks, because when your child is that sick, your parents tend to hurt too. Then at 16, I got even sicker, and I was having seizures. My kidneys had already failed, so that was added to that. And my mom, my dad, and his church surrounded me to say goodbye to me. And my dad told me I didn't have to fight anymore, because he understood that it was time to let go. And I remember thinking, I'll never make it to 26, but I'm going to try to make it for a couple more years, because I'm better than this. I'm better than my disease. By the grace of God, at 18, I got a kidney transplant. I'm B negative and Tahitian, so I have the rarest tissue type because I'm Polynesian, and the rarest blood type in the entire world. So less than 1% was a chance to match me. So they were like, maybe 15 years. And I was like, oh, cool, thanks for the 15-year upgrade, So I got my transplant, but because I had had lupus from such a young age and it had just eaten my body up, I think the first time I ever told my story, I said I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. I don't even think Hitler would have practiced it on people. It's how horrible I felt. My wrists would dislocate completely out of place. My elbows completely out of place. My shoulders out of place. If I'm going to address the surgeries I've had my leg cut open from my knee to my groin cut open, and the top of my thigh cut open, so they could take a main vein and stick needles in it to clean my blood. And I've had my chest cut open multiple times to have tubes in it, my stomach cut open to have tubes in it. So now I'm embarrassed, I'm shy, I wouldn't date anyone, because I was like, honestly, I don't even know if I'm going to live, let alone do I want to share my scarred body with you. So this is even after a transplant. You're supposed to get better, and your lupus is supposed to go away, and it didn't. So my mom came to me, and she goes, I know we've tried all kinds of natural products, but there's another lady with lupus, and I really think you should try it because it's helped her. So I always say I did what my mommy told me to do. And I also say that because I didn't go into taking Plexus with the idea that it was going to fix me or be a wonder drug or whatever. I just went, I'll take it because my mommy told me to. And within 3 days, I was up off the couch, I was walking, my joints stopped dislocating, and they stopped hurting. And I went for a run. And I hadn't been an athlete since I was about 14 years old. So I just was stoked out of my mind and really, really excited. And I continued to get better. I got a job. I was traveling. And then my story changes, which is kind of a bummer. But my transplant had lasted 10 years, and I got really bad food poisoning. So, even though I was on the Plexus, it's not going to stop bacteria from invading you. And I ended up losing my kidney this past October. So I'm actually back on dialysis. And when I lost my kidney, I ended up down at UCLA, and their treatment was to pummel me with some of the worst chemo I think I've ever had in my life for 11 days straight. Most people do chemo every 2 weeks. I did it every day for 8-hour infusions. And I looked at them and I said, you're killing me, and I'm going to die. And my mom's like, I don't care what anyone else thinks, we're getting that Plexus back in you. Because when you take natural products in the hospital, they get really upset. So we started drinking the Plexus, and I can honestly say it's the only thing that made it so I would, that I lived through it. Because prior to that, they had done biopsies on my kidney and taken 8 big chunks out, and I hemorrhaged. I ended up having to be given 9 units of blood. And I don't know how I lived through that either. And I can tell you it's because of the Plexus, with God and Plexus. So And with the body cream too, the chemo was coming out of my eyes, out of my spine. It was really horrendous. And my mom would rub it on the bottom of my feet, the body cream, and on my spine, and it helped my scars go away. It helped get the chemo out. It actually peeled the skin off of my feet, trying to get the poisons out of my feet. It was really amazing. So I'm on 3 blood pressure medicines, and that's just because, I can't get rid of the fluid still because of my kidneys, but that's it. And considering I don't have giblets that work, I think I look pretty decent, right? And that's because of the Plexus. I take it every single day. I've taken it throughout, and it's not going to keep an old transplant from not failing, but it's going to keep me healthy and keep me alive until I can get a new one. And I'm really excited about that, and I think that's really awesome. So thank you.
I just love the story. I mean,